This is not how you expected to graduate, is it? What you thought you were going to have was the excitement of going in to pick up your gown and seeing your friends, coming to this convocation, sit with your classmates, receive your diploma, celebrate with your loved ones. And instead, you're tuning in from around the world. But remember, events like that are just a milestone. It's experiences and friendships and learnings that you've accumulated over the years that will really stay with you. I want to tell you about my husband, Bruce. What I've learned over the past 3 years has really changed my life fundamentally, and maybe you'll find a bit of utility in my experience. Bruce was the Chief Executive Officer and President of the Hamilton Port Authority, and I was a Minister of the Government and a Member of Parliament for Milton, Ontario. I was pretty busy. I worked in Ottawa, where I was on the road for about 200 nights of the year. Bruce was very busy too, lots of projects going on in the Port of Hamilton. But he started having problems at work. And it was little things at the beginning, missing a meeting, not remembering that he was supposed to make a phone call. He was nervous about it, and I recognized he was struggling, but I just thought it was the fact that his new board was making him nervous, and it was something that came with the job. During the time as well, I found Bruce wasn't coming up to visit me in Ottawa as much. And if he did, he'd use his truck instead of getting in an airplane or going to an airport. Big places were becoming problems. One time, he took his truck to take dry cleaning in, and he actually got out of the truck, left the truck running, left the door open as he brought the dry cleaning in. All of these things, though, looking back, I should have known something was going on. But at the time, I just chalked it up to being tired, stressed, overworked. But work noticed. His board decided that they were going to give him a review because his performance was lagging. And as a result, 2 members of the board were assigned to come in and interview him and interview everybody around him. One of the members of the board thought that Bruce had a substance abuse issue, that the reason why he was behaving erratically and not being able to perform was because of something that he was consuming. But another member of the board said, you know, let's send him to the doctors and see exactly what's going on. Perhaps there's something we don't know about. And indeed, Bruce went to the doctors, and the doctor sent him immediately to a specialist. I got a call the night before Bruce was supposed to go to the specialist saying, Miss Raitt, you really do have to attend this with your husband. And it's the first time that I've ever been told I had to go to an appointment with Bruce, and it seemed a little bit out of character. So I took a look at the name of the doctor and I looked it up, and I was a little surprised to see that he was being sent to a gerontology doctor, not something that I had anticipated. Well, on that day, March 31st, 2016, Bruce was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, something we really hadn't anticipated or even thought about. I asked the doctor not to tell Bruce on that day because it was a very emotional experience for him to realize how much he had declined cognitively. And I sought a second opinion, and the second opinion came back the same way in May of 2016. Early onset Alzheimer's is a disability that's silent. On the outside, you look normal. Bruce is tall, he's physically fit, but gotta say so myself, he's a pretty good-looking guy. And at 56, you never really would have thought that there was something like Alzheimer's wrong with him. In reality, he had trouble following conversations. He could not handle finances. I have to tell you, I was very surprised when I found out he hadn't filed his taxes in 2 years because he had simply forgot that they needed to be filed. He's emotional, he's moody, and some days, yep, he's pretty angry. Right now, he can't remember how to shave. He doesn't remember a lot of people in his life, including some of his children. He feeds the dog 5 times a day, which is not good for the dog, I know that. And boy, he is terrible at recycling. Every day on Thursdays when the waste folks come, I always say a little prayer to make sure that they actually take away because everything is completely jumbled up. I know it's a mess. Now, I could be sad, I could be angry at the lot I have in this life right now, but I choose instead to learn from what's happening. After a lifetime of trying to control absolutely everything around me, I recognize that there are just some things I can't control. So, here is what Bruce has taught me, and the advice that I give to you. First, build some resilience in your life. When something unexpected happens, allow yourself to feel all those negative emotions, but do it for a limited amount of time. Give yourself a time limit. I'm going to feel this way for 2 days or 2 hours or 10 minutes, whatever seems to be logical, given your circumstance. Then make plans on how to change it. Every new decline in Bruce's abilities has been a challenge, but I talk about them openly because others can learn from my experiences, and I do follow others as well to learn from their experiences. We're at a stage right now where Bruce, when he sees his reflection, thinks it's somebody else, so he's concerned about strangers coming in the house. I've removed all the mirrors. I have covered up as much glass as I possibly can in the house, and I try to keep him away from rearview mirrors and cars. All of those things are ways in which I'm coping and building resilience. I could be very sad about what's happening, but the reality is I can't change it and I can't control it, so I just have to roll with it. The second thing I learned from Bruce is patience. Have to have patience for others. Before we were diagnosed with Alzheimer's, my birthday was coming up, and my birthday is a big deal in my house. I make it a big deal, admittedly. I like a vanilla cake with vanilla icing. I like to have Kentucky Fried Chicken. I know it's bad for me, but I like it. And I also expect my kids to give me a card on that day. Handmade is fine, one that they purchase is fine, either, but those have been the rules pretty much in my life. One year, Bruce went out to buy the cake. Now, there's only other one rule in the house when it comes to cake. The cake that I dislike the most in my life is something called a Black Forest cake. And it's chocolate with some cherries in it and some whipped cream on it. I don't know why I don't like it. You may love it. It's your own prerogative. But for me, it's just something I don't like. It's been a family joke for years how much I dislike this kind of cake, and Bruce knew about it. But this one year, he went out to buy the cake. And in his mind, he knew there was something about the Black Forest cake, but instead of remembering it's the cake Lisa really didn't like, he thought it was the cake that I really liked. And he came home with the cake. Now remember, this was before I knew he had Alzheimer's. So I pitched a fit. I was not at all grateful for what I was given. In fact, I was quite unpleasant about what I was given. And as a result, there was a lot of anger in the house and my birthday was ruined. Next year came around. This time we had the diagnosis of Alzheimer's. But guess what kind of cake he came home with? Yep, he came home with a Black Forest cake. This time, I quietly put it to the side, made sure that I had purchased the own cake that I liked. Patience was something that I learned. He couldn't help the fact that he didn't remember what kind of cake it was that I liked or I disliked. I accept that. I'm far more patient now because I really don't know what's going on in other people's lives. I'd hope that you'd cut some people slack, but realistically, don't expect them to cut you any slack. I believe that this is a situation that you don't keep score. Providing others patience actually is something that settles your mind more than it settles theirs. And the last thing that I've learned from Bruce is to find happiness. You know, it's said that the great essentials of happiness are threefold: having someone to love, having something to do, and having something to look forward to. You know, these are tough times right now, evidenced by the fact that we have to communicate this way instead of being with you in a large auditorium celebrating your success. And I asked my 15-year-old the other day how he and his friends are coping. And one thing struck me. He told me that his friends are worried, that they're anxious, but more importantly, they're not excited about the future. And I thought to myself, well, this is a problem, because us old folks are actually depending and relying upon the enthusiastic energy of younger people to bring us through what we're experiencing right now. We need you to be excited about the future. So I'm here today to give you permission to be hopeful. Things will be different, but it doesn't mean that things are going to be worse. Work on your happiness. Find someone to love. Enjoy your family, your friends, volunteer, adopt a pet. You know, we can commit in so many ways now. We don't need to miss any opportunities on how we can interact. And I admit I need to do better here as well. Find something to do. And it has to be something that you enjoy. Now, you've just graduated, or you're about to graduate, so you have so much promise. We are so proud of you, and now the work begins to put those skills that you've learned to use to build our world. But maybe what you really want to do is have a family. I will tell you that in my life, hands down, my greatest accomplishment and my greatest joy are my children. And raising them is something that I love to do. I didn't always love being a politician, but I've always loved being a mom. Find something to look forward to. Admittedly, that is the toughest one, especially given the state of the world right now. But I would submit it's even more important. When you have Alzheimer's, or when you're in a family with somebody with Alzheimer's, you know that there is only one story ending. There are 7 stages of progression, and each one is worse than the previous. But I still look for things to look forward to. This was supposed to be a big summer for us. We were going to go to Cape Breton, where I'm from originally, on the east coast of Canada. He was going to golf, we were going to go swimming, maybe find a boat that we could utilize for my sister. His son was getting married. All good, joyous things that we were so much looking forward to. And unfortunately, with this pandemic, we just simply can't. So I tapped into my resilience, and I tapped into a lot of my patience. And I found some smaller things that I can look forward to. We do takeaways on Saturdays, trying different cuisines around our area. We do golf, but it's in Milton, not too far from where we live. We go for drives, and we eat ice cream. Actually, we eat a lot of ice cream. That's okay too. And I bought a hot tub. And every day, when I know things are not necessarily going the way I want them to go, I need that hot tub. And I make sure that I look forward to it, because there are some dark clouds that are going to be coming forward in my life, and I need something to look forward to. Graduates, you have a long career ahead of you. Your path will not always be clear, and you're not always going to be happy. But you have the skills to take charge and to take action and bring that happiness to you. And if I could leave you with one personal piece of advice, don't put off an opportunity, because you never know what life is going to deal you. I wish you resilience, I wish you patience, and I wish you so much happiness in your life. Congratulations to the class of 2020.